Okay, here we go. Here we go. Friend of the channel, Sexy Red. Uh, last time we talked about Sexy Red, we were discussing whether she is emasculating black men by bringing men onto stage, uh, bound by leashes during her
Mhm.
Rolling Loud set when she performed at Rolling Loud Miami. And now she was doing an interview with Funny Marco, funny guy, comedian, has his own show. Sexy Red was on there, and they got on to the subject of cheating. And Sexy Red was detailing why she is elite at being unfaithful.
Oh
Uh,
wow.
Anybody who is familiar with Sexy Red's rhetoric, this should not come as a surprise that she speaks in this way. But nevertheless, yeah, Sexy Red has the blueprint for how to cheat on your guy and how to be unfaithful. And
I heard.
Funny
Oh, go
Marco
ahead.
was so inclined to get her to elaborate on said blueprint. What were you gonna say?
No, I just heard that her booty hole was brown.
Yeah,
Uh,
and there's something else that's pink too, but we
allegedly
won't say
not
what.
from.
Yeah, no, yeah, I don't think it's very pink right now. Um, but
Uh,
here we go, man. Here's Sexy Red detailing to Funny Marco how to be unfaithful.
Unbelievable.
What are your cheating skills 1 through 10?
I'm elite.
Right.
I broke the scale.
Right. Can you give the women out there good ways to cheat if you don't mind looking at them?
Yes, delete everything out your phone. Tell that nigga, all right, I'm around my man. Don't text me. And if he do, block him. He's not a honey. He trying to get you caught up.
Unbelievable.
So, are women faithful?
Ain't nobody faithful in the world. Right or wrong.
I believe women are faithful.
You met a faithful bitch.
Yeah. Actually,
You might thought she was faithful, because I used to be playing that role too.
what's the role?
You just act innocent.
Mm-hmm.
I know some innocent bitches that be cheating. And I'm the type that could convince you to cheat on your nigga.
Mm-hmm.
Like, especially if he cheat on you, come outside with me, girl.
So cheating, it can be okay, going on
What?
date. Okay, going on
Yeah,
date.
cheating
Hold
can be
on.
anything.
Which one? What cheating are you going on date? Just texting, hanging out, or fucking?
All of the above.
Oh damn.
I'll do whatever. It's what I want to do. Like, is you had your turn, so now it's my turn, right?
No, sometimes you can just relax.
You ain't always gotta fuck. It ain't about fucking.
Mm-hmm.
Niggas take anything to heart. You can answer the phone for a nigga in front of a nigga. He gone. He want to kill himself.
So with both of the baby daddies, is
Whoa. Sheesh.
All right. So all y'all out there, I hope y'all were listening. Those are some gems right there, if you want to look at it that way. Um, uh, I'm gonna just let you go ahead, man.
Hey,
What do
man.
you think?
Yeah, nah, listen. This is something that I was already aware of. This is not a surprise. I guess the one thing that I got from that conversation was just confirmation on my many conspiracy theories that I have. Listen, man, because this is kind of like what we was talking about like a little bit earlier. Like, guys are going to keep it solid on the side dude part for the most part. They're not going to say anything. They'll be like, oh, hey, what you want me to do? He'll hit her up one time, whoop de whoop. Hey, bro. Just like how she said, hey, bro, not now. Or she don't answer at all. Then she'll finally hit you up and be like, hey, bro, I was wrong, bro. And you go, oh, snap. Hey, what's the quota? Once every 2 weeks? Once a month? Twice a year? Guys are signing up for any of that. And because his whole thing is, hey, he just chilling. And so whenever she hit him up, it's like, oh, snap. He's not going to not jump at that. And there's a lot of that going on. So to sit around and think that, there's females out here that aren't doing that, it's crazy because I know enough guys that did it, myself included. So being somebody that was like, oh, what's the interval here? What's the interval? So sometimes it was like, hey, it's on and popping for 2 weeks and then it's gone. And then hey, then she coming back, or 3 months later. I don't know what the hell happened. I'm not asking questions. So then that's the whole thing of the guy that's decided to, he'd be surprised too. It was one time, I give you a background story, whatever. I'm at some chick house or whatever. I'm thinking this like whatever. I'm always over there. She's always at my house, so I ain't thinking nothing of it. But I guess I caught her in an interval. I don't know. So I'm at her house sleeping. We're on the couch. You know what I'm saying? After recreations. And so yeah, we're on the couch. I'm asleep. It's like 4 a.m. I hear, I see, I hear 1. I get up. I see, lights outside. 1. She acting like she's asleep. She ain't even move. 1. I ain't gonna say her name. Bloop, get out here. I know you in there. Who called it? My car parked outside. At this point, I don't know. I ain't got nothing on me. I don't know if bro gonna bust in with the craziness. I'm just whatever. So anyway, fast forward. Anyway, next morning, after more recreations, I said, hey man, what the hell was going on last night? And then she was like, what? She act like she ain't hear nothing. Moral of this story is, this is going on throughout. And I've just been a other person on the other side of, I ain't gonna say nothing because, well, I ain't got nobody to tell. So there's plenty of dudes willing to sign up for that. And with that alone is enough for some girl to have some secret dude in her phone. So it don't have to be a new person. See, most people get it misconstrued. Women only add bodies to their count when they're trying to find a new person to be in the rotation. They don't like just giving it out. Now, there's some girls just give it out, but other girls, they give up the get a body just so they can have somebody in rotation later. And if you one of the people that can be in rotation because you chill enough, you don't blow up the spot enough, you don't do all, then you in the rotation. So there's a lot of that happening. And so some girls never give up their rotation once they find somebody they're actually interested in. Hence the reason why they air quote cheat and all this other stuff. And, whoop-de-whoops, have inappropriate conversations and then know to delete them afterwards. So this is not anything new. Women do it. I've been on the other side to benefit from it. So I already know that this is part of the rhetoric and, how the behaviors go. So for Sexyy Red, one of the, avengers of whoredom, to actually sit there and divulge this, I'll just take that as confirmation of some things that I've already had, trails on. So how about you, man? How do you feel about the situation? Do you believe her that even the sweet ones, the innocent ones, could be giving up the box and deleting messages in their phone?
This made me sad. So there's one particular part of that I'm going to key on.
Okay.
The part that I'm going to key in on is, so he said, describe your cheating skills or some shit like that. She was like, oh, I'm elite. Yeah, she said I'm elite, right? So she said she's an elite cheater.
Yeah.
And Funny Marco's like, so basically, I forget what he said, but then her response to that was, everybody's unfaithful. And so that's the part that made me sad, because when I'm watching that, what I am reading into based on that is, I do what I do and I'm elite at cheating and I'm unfaithful because that's the way the world is. Everyone is unfaithful. So there's no moral quandary to consider here. That's just how the world is. Everyone's out here being unfaithful. So why am I going to not do that? That's how the world works. That's what's normal, is being unfaithful. That's normal. And so, the thing with me is, like, we've mentioned several other topics when it comes to this whole relationship madness situation. And one of the things that I've talked about previously is women who get on their high horse trying to paint men with a broad brush, suggesting that all men are this way and that is why I do what I do, or that's why I'm this way. In other words, all dudes cheat or all dudes do this or that regardless. So that's why I'm going to do what I do. That's why I'm going to date masculine, have my men in rotation, so on and so forth. And the response that I have always had to that is that is not necessarily true. That might be a truth for you, but it's an incomplete truth overall, because it isn't that all men or women, for that matter, if you're a guy who ascribes to this notion, it isn't that all men or all women do this. It's that it's just the ones you want who do this kind of stuff, honestly. So for a lot of these women out here who develop this myopathy with respect to men, feeling like all men do this, that, or the third, it isn't necessarily that it's every man out here doing this. It's just it's the men you want doing it. So you have to sort of at some point take inventory of your life, sit down and reflect and decide what are some of the things that I am doing that is contributing to this being my plight in life. Now, it reminds me of and I'm gonna go galaxy brain real quick, but it'll all make sense. So I've mentioned the book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, before. It was a book that was written in the 50s, I think, by Stephen Covey.
Yeah.
And the overarching tenet of the book is the idea of paradigm shifts. And so one of the reasons why that book changed my life is because it helped to teach me that trauma does not absolve one from being able to change the way that they behave and think about certain situations so that they can attain a desired outcome. So it doesn't matter what traumas you've been involved in or have experienced throughout your life, it doesn't have to define you. And mind you, people hear the word trauma and they kind of get triggered. I don't mean super traumatic events like you were abused or you were in a car accident or somebody died or something like that. A trauma or a traumatic event can be something as simple as people were making fun of you as a kid for being overweight, or maybe you didn't have the coolest shoes in school and so kids made fun of you for not having Jordans on. Anything that sticks in your brain and alters the way that you behave with certain things into the future can be defined as a form of trauma. So when I use the word trauma, what I'm saying is you do not have to be defined by your traumas.
Mm-hmm.
If you can have the wherewithal to understand what your traumas are, and furthermore, and more importantly, you genuinely do actually want to get the outcome that you seek, then you have the power to shift your paradigm so that you no longer have to be beholden to those traumas. So why do I bring this book up with respect to paradigm shifts when I'm thinking about these, when I'm looking at this Sexyy Red comment?
Mm-hmm.
Sexyy Red is saying everyone is unfaithful. Hence, I am implicitly giving myself permission to do these things because everyone is unfaithful.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when I hear that, what I take from that is I would not be doing this if everyone was not unfaithful. That's what I take from that. Now, perhaps that's not true and she's lying. And maybe she'd still be doing this shit even if everybody was faithful. You never know. But from those comments that she made, what I'm taking from that is I wouldn't be out here scheming and scamming if the world was more faithful. That's what I'm taking from that. And what I respond to is I feel as though she is speaking through her traumas with that. She probably grew up in an environment where that was the play. The play was men cheat, women cheat, everyone's unfaithful, everyone's doing their thing. It's 2023 now, so it's more socially acceptable for women to be masculine when it comes to dating or when it comes to just how you treat sex and the opposite sex, regardless. So now I'm just going to do whatever I want because y'all been doing the same thing too. So I feel as though she is speaking through her trauma. And her trauma is this is what my environment was, and this is what I was going through. So now I'm going to do the same thing. But what I would say to people like maybe not Sexyy Red, because she seems to be enjoying this.
Exactly.
She seems to be enjoying this. But there's other people in the world who are not cut from the Sexyy Red cloth,
Mm-hmm.
but they still have that same sense of myopathy. They
Mm-hmm.
still have that. And so to those individuals, I suggest that perhaps taking inventory of yourself and trying to undergo a paradigm shift to switch the way that you look at people so that you do not have to be beholden to that trauma is something that can help get you out of that hamster wheel and get you to stop thinking that the world is just full of liars and cheaters and people who are unfaithful, because that's not everybody. That's just the people who you seem to be gravitating towards. So it kind of opens up a whole can of worms with respect to who are the kind of guys you give your attention to. Because if you're giving your attention to, or if you find yourself drawing attention from a certain type of man, or in the case of a man, if you find yourself more attracted to a certain kind of chick, or if you find yourself getting the attention of a certain kind of chick, and you find yourself in these kinds of situation, it is perhaps incumbent upon you to sit down and think about why it is that you like this kind of energy, or why you are attracting this kind of energy. Now, if you really don't care and you want to keep doing what you're doing, then there's no point in taking said inventory to try and undergo a paradigm shift. But also at the same time, if you don't care, don't pay lip service to the idea that you do. And you got a lot of people out here who are posers, who pay lip service to, who romanticize the idea that they would be this way if the world wasn't so like this. When in actuality, and I think this is the case with Sexyy Red, she'd still be doing that even if the world was rainbows and unicorns. But there's a lot of people who pay lip service to the idea that if the world was rainbows and unicorns, I wouldn't be a man eater or a woman eater. I'd be better. I'd do better. And the thing is, maybe the world isn't completely rainbows and unicorns, but you can adjust your paradigm enough to try and attract a different kind of energy, to give yourself a different perspective. I truly do believe that. And maybe this is me being Mr. Positive here in this instance.
Hey.
But I truly do believe that. And I say this from personal experience. Like, you personalized it before, I can personalize it myself.
Yeah.
I know for a fact, because of my experience, I have met a whole gang of women throughout my life that I have never had to think about whether they scamming on me or not. And I'm serious. I mean that. I have. Like, I'm not making that up. I wish I'm not like, I'm really not making that up. But all of those situations, they did not work out because I know I was making the decision to forego those opportunities in lieu of continuing to be out in the streets. So that's on me. I cannot therefore turn around and have this idea in my head that I'm going to continue to do what I'm doing because the world and everyone's unfaithful. No, that was a personal choice that I made to continue to be in the streets. But I've had enough experience with women who are not like that to know the world is more rainbows and unicorns than some of us care to realize. So you got to do an inventory on the kind of energy that you are attracting and the kind of energy that you're giving off. If you can say in your heart of hearts that you really do want to be in a space where there's more rainbows and unicorns going on, then you can undergo enough of a paradigm shift to switch your energy up and attract a different kind of energy that can have you looking at the world slightly differently. Now, again, the world isn't complete rainbows and unicorns. There's still man eaters, there's still woman eaters, there's still scammers. There are, absolutely. But for her to make that blanket generalization that everyone is unfaithful, to me, that is her speaking through her traumas, in my opinion. But she's also somebody who doesn't necessarily care. She's going to keep doing what she does anyway. And there's enough of those people to go around as well. But ultimately, I just kind of think that there's a lot of people out here who didn't go through what she went through, whatever it is that she went through, who still think that way and believe those things. And to those people, I would say you can adjust some of your thinking and behaviors to really test out whether you can attract a different enough kind of energy to not think that way and to not be a part of that. If you really do want to not be a part of that and you're not merely just paying lip service to the idea that you want to be a part of that.
Hey man, that's one thing I did learn from you is that's not my reality, wasn't everybody's reality. Because when I'm sitting there venting to you like, man, scandalous, and you like, hey, that I didn't go through that. What you mean you didn't go through that? You weren't looking hard enough. You like, no, I didn't go through that. I don't know. I don't know what you're talking. Tyrone's not knocking at my girl's door when I'm around there chilling with her. So hey, man, I agree with that. I also think I think where you're at though is the minority.
Yeah, probably.
And I think the majority of people are full of sharp, and the majority of people are undeveloped. Now that don't have nothing to do with who you attract. Are you attracting right? So are you attracting undeveloped? Whatever. Yes, I attract everything. So I attract what I'm. So put it like this. So if on a scale of what you can attract, right? So if once you hit a certain tier, it's a lot of stuff to fit in your bucket. And so when there's a lot of stuff that fit in your bucket, my thing was, when I was just out here young and I was just trying to have fun. If I stumbled into a relationship, that's when I was like, all right, whatever. But the problem is I was having fun first and then got attached to somebody that you just have fun with.
Mm-hmm.
And then turn a relationship, So that was my thing. I wasn't, properly courting, I suppose.
Pseudo. I call those pseudo relationships. I've had my fair share of those as well.
Well, see, there you go. So mine was just lasting 3-4 years, so I thought it meant something. But it was just like, it was just a whole bunch of shenanigans and trauma, right? So hey, shout out to what I'm saying. Hey, shout out to that. But seriously though, so yeah, man, I agree with that. I hear what you're saying on that. It makes a lot of sense. All I know is that the overwhelming majority of people that I encounter, they've got stories of infidelity. They got stories of infidelity. The wife got bored. Whatever, whoopie whoop. Some stuff you just can't. She can be solid for whatever long, but something happens and then she had to delete that message. Then some creep from her job or some whatever person, getting a little too close, and now they DMing each other on some app, just to carry on a conversation from work. But my husband's not going to understand. And she's sitting here doing all this other stuff, and then it grows into something else. She didn't, all this stuff. People just be doing stuff. So my logic was, hey, look, man, this is a cold world, bro. You know what I'm saying? No blanket. So I said, what can be my blanket, my solace in this world full of vampiric people? All right. So what I told myself is what I tell everybody, bro, especially if there's people in this new age just hooking up, living life, because there's a lot of people, male and female. Y'all know who y'all are. So while y'all out here doing that, just admit y'all poly and stop getting mad when the next person cheated, because y'all don't really care. But there is a care there. It's some ego there that gets bruised up, and then all this other stuff. So my whole thing is, and this is my galaxy brain real quick, that this whole third dimension, this place that we living in, is all an illusion in the sense of it's all ego, it's all worldly. And so part of your existence down here is that ego and that pride and all that other stuff. And all of this stuff being around you being a trap, so is that ego and that pride. And one thing that these people that's cheating on you and all this other stuff, and that little thing in you that gets bruised and hurt and all that other stuff, that's a trap. And you're going through, me personally, I felt like I was going through these things so I can drop that part of myself that feels like I own another person. The part of myself that feels like I gotta retaliate or feel some type of way that somebody else can't control their body or control their mind. So one thing that I did give myself was the peace of mind to know that if somebody were to wrong me in that capacity, that it won't hurt me in that capacity that it used to. So I felt like I was going through all of these trauma things to learn a lesson in how to control my ego. Now, I hear what you're saying from your perspective, and I'm with that too, because trust me, brother, I'm trying to clean up the act. And so as that happens, so will the reflection, right? So yeah, I hear that, but that was how I view things. And I just tell everybody out there, man, just drop it, man. Who cares? I look at it like high fives. I look at it like working out, playing one-on-one basketball, personal trainer. Hey, woo, y'all just working out. Because honestly, there's sometimes after you done busted a nut and you go, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
That's it. That's what I be mad that she wouldn't did. I don't give a shit. She was just exercising. Like, well, that's all that was. And she just exercised with another person. So I'm like, man, I don't care. So I had to really rewire my brain. Now, some people might say that's sort of whoop whoop whoop, but I had to tell myself, and this is just beyond cheating. This is with everything that the ego gets bruised with. Work with that, and that's why I always say not be too high, not be too low, and keep it calm, keep it chill. You know what I'm saying? Because one thing that this matrix will do is try to get you off your pivot. Yeah. So, but yeah, man, this is a. I didn't know this topic was gonna get so roundaboutish, but yeah. Shout out to Sexyy Red bringing out the philosophy and the
one thing that I do respect about Sexyy Red, even though I still think she is speaking through her traumas, is she is unapologetic about the fact that this is what she's going to be doing. And I do feel as though if the world was a more enlightened, better place, she'd still be doing it. But I can respect that because she at least knows who she is. What I don't like, and you alluded to this with people who want to get mad over all of this kind of stuff, is those to me are the people who are messing the game up because they want to, they know deep down inside that they want to be for the streets. But it sounds good to say you don't want to be for the street. And those are the people who are part, like, y'all are part of the problem. Excuse me, men and women who do this, like, and you and I both know people personally who have done this and probably still do this. It's like, don't come to me talking to me about how you're down for this relationship life when you're not. You're not. You want to make yourself seem redeemable by telling me I'm not God. Bro, you don't gotta confide in me. Like, I'm not your Lord and Savior. I'm not God. You don't have to answer to me when this whole thing is said and done. So I'm not judging you if you want to be out here in the streets. I don't care. So you don't have to convince me that you're really about this relationship life, but the world is so corrupt that you're forced by default to be of the world. Like, no, you just want to be of the world. And listen, that's okay. But people need to be more honest with who they are. And for those individuals who really do envision themselves being better, like, understand that you don't have to continue with this whole idea in your mind that you're doing this because this is the way the world is and you have no choice. No, you can shift your paradigm and do things differently. A lot of y'all ladies out there, you know the kind of guys you're into, and you gravitate towards those dudes. Those dudes are pretty much the same at all times. And when you are disappointed because those guys do certain things to affirm that to you, you then want to talk about how all men are like this. No, it's just the men you like. So if you really care about doing things differently, try to readjust your programming to attract a different kind of guy. Now, of course, that's easier said than done, and it's very hard to unravel the multiple layers of psychosis that have contributed over time to us thinking the way that we think about certain things. But honestly, that's what it takes. Lest you want to continue to just kind of live this kind of life for the rest of your life, for the rest of the foreseeable future, you definitely don't want to waste your prime years doing this stuff. So if it's something that you really care about, hey, maybe you don't have to always go for the guys who look like this or talk like this or dress like that, especially if you notice that each of those situations is resulting in an undesired outcome. So shift things and do it differently. Try it out and see what happens. Maybe you'll learn that the world isn't as bleak as you think it is, and vice versa with men who think the same way as well. And by the way, when I speak about these paradigm shifts and all of this kind of stuff, I'm not sitting up here engaging in righteous indignation, suggesting that everyone needs to be on that monogamy faithful stuff. I'm just moreover saying people need to be honest with where they are in life and who they are, myself included. Like, I'm still a single guy myself, and I pay lip service to the idea of what I want to do ultimately in the long run, but I also know who I am and where I am. And furthermore, I communicate that to everyone who I come into contact with so that everyone can maintain the right expectations. And then at some point in the future, when I do decide that I've run up on a situation that I do want to explore further, I retain the option to do so. So I'm not sitting around here being this pious person trying to get into monogamy or serious relationships all the time. Not that I'm besmirching that, but people need to be more honest with who they are. And the biggest problem with this particular dialogue is people are not honest. So as much as I detest Sexy Red's rhetoric, she's at least honest. But you have a lot of people in the world who think like her, but then say, "Oh, I want to do the right thing." Well, if you really want to do the right thing, whatever the right thing means to you, shift your paradigm and try to attract a different kind of energy and put a different kind of energy out into the universe. And maybe you'll get the results that you're looking for. But if you keep doing the same thing but expecting a different result, you're going to continue to fuel your insanity. And you'll have people like me looking at you like an insane person. And trust me, you don't want that. So, that's pretty much how I look at this whole thing. A lot of posers, a lot of fakers, people out here just not being honest with themselves. Don't run around thinking that everyone is unfaithful. That is a dangerous mentality to maintain. That is not true. But what it does demonstrate is how your traumas are controlling you and controlling your decision making. And if you can shift that, you can ultimately discover maybe the world isn't as bleak as I always thought it was. Maybe everyone ain't out here trying to scheme on me. Maybe every chick isn't out here trying to run game on me. Because it's true, man. Not every chick is out here trying to run game on you. And, conversely, not every dude is out here trying to run game on every female either. But hey, if you put out a certain kind of energy and you attract a certain kind of thing, trust me, you'll continue to get the same result.
Nah, hey, word. And I agree with you. One thing that Sexy Red does is she keeps it 100. And I like my hoes like that, man. I like my hoes telling me that they hoes.
Yes.
That's the best way to live.
Yes.
It's the covert hoes that I can't stand.
Absolutely. That is one thou wow, bro. But it's the ones who are lurking in the shadows who are messing it up.
Right.
Give me people who tell me to my face, I'm, give me people who tell me to my face, I'm a slore, I'm a hoe, I do this, I do that. Be honest with it. I respect that more than than the people in the world. I'm a guy, so I'll speak from a man's perspective. I respect that more than the women who put lipstick on a pig. And you are a hoe and you have hoe tendencies, but you are trying to convince me that you're just
with hoe energy to do what you do and blue who you blue. And shout out to Ludacris, man. That song go crazy. Why you think you take a hoe to a hotel? Hotel everybody, even the mayor.
Reach into the sky for the ozone layer. Oh gosh, shouts out to Sexy Red, man. Appreciate the content, yo. Friend of the channel, indeed, yo. I appreciate that.
You crazy.